Welcome to another episode of my Azeroth Archives series where we find in-game lore books in World of Warcraft. Today we are going after the 6th book called The War of the Ancients. I'm really excited for this one because in real life there is a trilogy of books called The War of the Ancients, which is one of my favorites. The War of the Ancients book can be found in the following locations in-game. The first one is in Scarlet Monastery in Terrace Glades in the Library Wing. On retail WoW, it needs to be set to the old version of the SM dungeons, which can be done using the Scarlet Key. Then we make our way inside the dungeon and into this room called the Athenaeum, and it's sitting on this first table when you enter the room. The second location is in Darnassus in Teldrassil in the Craftsmens Terrace. It is on the second floor of this building. The last locations are in Stormwind City. Originally in Classic WoW, the book is located in the park inside this inn, but since the park was removed in Cataclysm due to Deathwing destroying it, you can now find it on retail WoW in the Stormwind Royal Library inside the keep. So this book is pretty long, being 15 pages, so let's get started with reading it. The War of the Ancients. The Highborn's reckless use of magic sent ripples of energy spiraling out from the Well of Eternity and into the great dark beyond. The streaming ripples of energy were felt by terrible alien minds. Sargeras, the great enemy of all life, the destroyer of worlds, felt the potent ripples and was drawn to their distant point of origin. Spying the primordial world of Azeroth and sensing the limitless energies of the Well of Eternity, Sargeras was consumed by an insatiable hunger. The great dark god of the nameless void resolved to destroy the fledgling world and claim its energies as his own. Sargeras gathered his vast burning legion and made his way towards the unsuspecting world of Azeroth. The legion was comprised of 1,000,000 screaming demons, all ripped from the far corners of the universe, and the demons hungered for conquest. Sargeras' lieutenants, Archimonde the Defiler and Manaroth the Destructor, prepared their infernal minions to strike. Queen Ashara, overwhelmed by the terrible ecstasy of her magic, fell victim to Sargeras' undeniable power and agreed to grant him entrance to her world. Even her highborn servitors gave themselves over to the magic's inevitable corruption and began to worship Sargeras as their god. To show their allegiance to the Legion, the Highborn aided their queen in opening a vast swirling portal within the depths of the Well of Eternity. Once all his preparations had been made, Sargeras began his catastrophic invasion of Azeroth. The warrior demons of the Burning Legion stormed into the world through the Well of Eternity and laid siege to the Night Elves' sleeping cities. Led by Archimonde and Manaroth, the Legion swarmed over the lands of Kalimdor, leaving only ash and sorrow in its wake. The demon warlocks called down searing infernals that crashed like hellish meteors into the graceful spires of Kalimdor's temples. A band of burning, bloodletting killers known as the Doomguard marched across Kalimdor's fields, slaughtering everyone in their path. Packs of wild, demonic fellhounds ravaged the countryside unopposed. Though the brave Kaldori warriors rushed to defend their ancient homeland, they were forced to give ground inch by inch before the fury of the Legion's onslaught. It fell to Malfurion Stormrage to find help for his beleaguered people. Stormrage, whose own brother Illidan practiced the Highborn's magic, was incensed by the growing corruption amongst the upper class. Convincing Illidan to forsake his dangerous obsession, Malfurion set out to find Cenarius and muster a resistance force. The beautiful young priestess Tyrande agreed to accompany the brothers in the name of Elune. Though Malfurion and Illidan shared a love for the idealistic priestess, Tyrande's heart belonged to Malfurion alone. Illidan resented his brother's budding romance with Tyrande, but knew that his heartache was nothing compared to the pain of his magical addiction. Illidan, who had grown dependent on magic's empowering energies, struggled to keep control of his nearly overwhelming hunger to tap the well's energies once again. However, with Tyranda's patient support, he was able to restrain himself and help his brother find the reclusive demigod Cenarius. Cenarius, who dwelt within the sacred moonglades of the distant Mount Hyjal, agreed to help the Night Elves by finding the ancient dragons and enlisting their aid. The dragons, led by the great red leviathan Alexstrasza, agreed to send their mighty flights to engage the demons and their infernal masters. Cenarius, calling on the spirits of the enchanted forests, rallied an army of ancient tree men and led them against the Legion in a daring ground assault. As the Night Elves' allies converged upon Ashara's temple and the Well of Eternity, all-out warfare erupted. Despite the strength of their newfound allies, Malfurion and his colleagues realized that the Legion could not be defeated by martial strength alone. As the titanic battle raged around Ashara's capital city, the delusional queen waited in anticipation for Sargeras's arrival. The Lord of the Legion was preparing to pass through the Well of Eternity and enter the ravaged world. As his impossibly huge shadow drew ever closer to the well's surface, Ashara gathered the most powerful of her highborn followers. Only by linking their magics together in one focused spell would they be able to create a gateway large enough for Sargeras to enter. As the battle raged across the burning fields of Kalimdor, a terrible turn of events unfolded. The details of the event have been lost to time, but it is known that Neltharion, the dragon aspect of the earth, went mad during a critical engagement against the burning Legion. He began to split apart as flame and rage erupted from his dark hide. Renaming himself Deathwing, the burning dragon turned on his brethren and drove the 5 dragonflights from the field of battle. Deathwing's sudden betrayal was so destructive that the 5 dragonflights never truly recovered. Wounded and shocked, Alexstrasza and the other noble dragons were forced to abandon their mortal allies. Malfurion and his companions, now hopelessly outnumbered, barely survived the ensuing onslaught. Malfurion, convinced that the Well of Eternity was the demon's umbilical link to the physical world, insisted that it should be destroyed. His companions, knowing that the well was the source of their immortality and powers, were horrified by the rash notion. Yet Tyranda saw the wisdom of Malfurion's theory, so she convinced Cenarius and their comrades to storm Ashara's temple and find a way to shut the well down for good. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading of The War of the Ancients. If you did and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time where we'll be checking out the book The Sundering of the World.